You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast brought to you by DraftKings. You put down a deposit, you can get up to $1,000 in free plays. Hop on in, check it out. Code word PHNX, DraftKings Sportsbook app. All right, now joined by one of the highest rated players of the Tommy Lloyd era, one of the most athletic players in the entire country, Mr. KJ Lewis. Hello, KJ.
What's up?
Dude, all right. So everybody wants to know, fill us in on your summer. We haven't talked in a couple months. How'd the AAU season go? And then we're going to talk about transferring over to Duncanville.
Okay. I think the AAU summer for me was, pretty productive. A lot of traveling, more than usual. At first I started off with Drive Nation and EYBL. And then after the second session, I decided to move over to the Adidas circuit and play with Southern Assault. But I enjoyed both of those teams and, coaching from both of those organizations. I'm happy how my summer ended.
Was there anything in particular you were working on, anything you really wanted to showcase as far as from an improvement perspective?
Just being more of a leader, being able to show my capability of shooting with efficiency, making reads, just being a hard player on both ends of the floor.
All right, so now you go from El Paso. Now you're at Duncanville, one of the powerhouses, obviously in Texas. What kind of led to that decision, and what are you hoping to get out of that?
So the biggest thing is my mom got a job at Duncanville, so she just asked me what I wanted to do, and I just wanted to move out there with her. But from a basketball perspective, just the hard work that Duncanville requires, the preparation. And just the steps to get me ready for Arizona. I think that was the biggest thing that led me from my decision to leave El Paso.
Now, did you have an idea that your classmate Kylan Boswell was going to be reclassifying?
No, I didn't. I had no idea. When I seen it on my Twitter, I was shook. But I knew he had gotten hurt and injured in the summer, but I just didn't know what he was going to do with it. But I'm happy for him. I'm hoping for a speedy recovery.
Okay. So let's talk about the Arizona coaching staff a little bit. What really, first of all, when they talk to you, what do they see your role being next year? What do they want from KJ Lewis? What are they hoping that they can get?
Just coming in and, being a two-way player, guarding the best player on the opposite team and, doing what I got to do on the offensive end, which is passing, scoring, rebounding, just an all-around player.
Have they talked to you too? Because you generally don't see a guy like yourself that has the physical nature that you do when you're only 17, 18 years old. That's got to be something that's going to be able to help you when you step foot on campus, being a little bit more physically mature than some other kids.
Definitely. I think that was one of the, parts of my game that they really liked. We're just going to improve on it right now when I get there. And I think they're really excited.
Right. What about Tommy Lloyd? What about him? What about the coaches made you want to become a Wildcat? And how is that relationship kind of matured since you committed?
Just Coach Lloyd, his offense, the way he recruits, him being a genuine person first, and then his skill development. You can see it throughout all Gonzaga. And then last year, I think it was, the whole country was on notice of how great of a head coach he is. And then, just Coach Robinson, Coach Merv, Coach TJ, just the relationship they all have with each other. They're all, close. They all, feed off each other. I think they're just going to help me develop to be a professional.
How did that recruitment play out? Did they start, when Tommy Lloyd took over, did they get in contact with you pretty quickly? Did it take a little while? How did that all come about?
I think when Coach Lloyd got the job, he got his staff first. I think they wanted to figure out what they're going to do with Coach Miller's team or who's going to return. So I think it took a little process. But once they got everything together with, their team that they had last year, I think it was pretty quick.
Did he have any idea that you lived in Tucson at one point?
On my visit, I told him. So at first, when he was recruiting me, when he came to the first game, he seen me play. He didn't know I lived there until my visit.
Right. All right. Small world right here. All right. So now you look at a lot of people have been asking then just about, Courtney Ramey, you're posting some stuff on Insta. Is that just, two Texas guys being buddies? Is that, something a little bit more? What's going on there?
So before I committed to Arizona, I took an unofficial to Texas when Courtney was there. And so on my visit, I met Courtney. We ate breakfast. We chopped it up. And ever since then, he's just been like a big brother to me, giving me knowledge, telling me what to do and what not to do, just preparing me for the next level. And so when I got to Tucson, once NCAA, like the rule was the first day in August, I could like take an unofficial. And so after the first day, we got in the gym, we worked out together, we ate, just continuing to build our relationship. And again, that's like my big brother.
Right. Okay. So we get, what do you think about Arizona's going to be dropping some new uniforms?
Right.
With kids. What do you think about the new uniforms?
I haven't seen them, but talking to Courtney, he said he got a little peek. He was excited about them, so I'm ready to see what they look like.
All right. Now, I want to have some personal questions here that a lot of people wanted to know because we see your highlights, we see your dunks. First of all, what's your vertical exactly last time it was measured?
Last time it was like 47.5.
Wow. All right. What's your wingspan? Any idea?
No, I don't have an idea. I didn't ask for that one when I got it measured. I didn't ask. I should have.
All right. Now, how tall are you?
I'm 6'4.5".
All right. Cool. All right. And let me ask you this then. So Arizona going into, was there a player that you patterned your game after? Anybody that from a professional, from a collegiate perspective that you like, yeah, I want to take some of his game. I want to take some of his game. How does that work?
Definitely Ben. After I committed, I started watching a lot of Ben highlights, doing like during my workouts, trying to do the stuff that he was doing in the offense. And then Dalen on the, with his energy, his leadership, and how he gets down on the best players on the opposite side on defense.
I always ask this of kids that, are obviously top 50 big time recruits. Was there ever a point when you realized that, and being humble about it, but is there ever a point when you realized you're like, I can do some things out here that the average kid can't do?
I want to say probably like my freshman summer going into my sophomore year. It became like a realization. Yeah.
Was there like a play that happened? Was there an athletic, endeavor, or was it just like things come easier for me?
I think it was I can't remember the exact play, but it was a little bit of both. Seeing how quick I get off the floor than other people, first step, skill, workout, like just different stuff.
Was there a school that you grew up and you're like, I wanted to go there? Were you did you always like Arizona? You lived in Texas for a while. Was that, where'd you go with that?
Arizona has always been like my dream school, honestly. Watching Stanley Johnson, Aaron Gordon, Derek Williams, I like all those guys since I was a little kid. So, I think it's crazy how life comes full circle.
Right. KJ, we can't thank you enough for coming on. The one thing I did want to ask you right here, though, is what are your goals at the U of A? Going in there just from a team and from an individual. And everybody's got individual goals, so it's okay to say you got individual goals as well.
As a team, come in and win right away. Pac-12 champions. Make a deep run in the tournament. Hopefully to win it. That's the ultimate goal. Individual, all conference, freshman of the year, player of the year. I think those are the goals right there.
You looking forward to running with Kylan when you get here?
I'm excited. I'm super excited, man. I can't wait to get to the U of A.
Right. KJ, can't thank you enough, buddy. We'll let you get back to practice and everything, but thanks again, my man.
I appreciate you.
All right, dude. We'll talk to you soon. That's KJ Lewis right there. Duncanville's finest right there. We will want to break down a lot of what was going on right there because I got a lot of thoughts. But first, the DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. Jacob Franklin's watching me there, making sure that everything is being said perfectly. All right, here's the deal. You put down a deposit, you can get up to $1,000 in free plays. Again, $1,000. Now, you might say, Mike, what do I need to do that? You just got to be 21 and up, Arizona only. Got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. They'll get you all taken care of. And again, I like Arizona football over 2.5 wins. So there you go. If you think that I'm an idiot, then say, dude, Mike's an idiot. I like the under 2.5. It doesn't really matter. Or if you want to wait and bet all that money in the Territorial Cup, bet it then, because Arizona is going to be given the smackdown to the Sun Devils right there, who probably will be starting a Tucson walk-on at that point. Hint, hint, hint. Again, code word PHNX, DraftKings Sportsbook app. All right. KJ Lewis is a guy that I've never understood the recruiting rankings when it comes to KJ, because I've been around for a while. I'm certainly not an expert, but when I watch him, everything checks off right there as a 5-star type player. First of all, he's got a body made for basketball. He's about, like you said, I mean, take his word for it. He's 6'4.5". He's really well put together, super athletic. And if you watch him, the skill factor has definitely come around for him in that his shots coming around, his handle's more fluid now than it certainly was at this point last year. And on top of that, he's got a developing skill set that is going to be able to translate. I'll give you an example. Like when Hassan Adams came to the U of A, and I love hot sauce, but when Hassan Adams came to the U of A 15, 16 years ago, oh gosh, maybe even more than that, you kind of knew that he was going to be a little bit limited because just the ball handling, the nature of the position wasn't something that he was ever going to thrive at, because he was ball handling and those type of things just didn't come natural. And that's why his best year was as a power forward. You watch KJ Lewis, and this is a shooting guard. This is a wing. And a lot of times guys come in and you wonder how ready they're going to be able to compete immediately. I don't really have any of those concerns about KJ. Now, listen, he could be walking into to a very deep team right there, because, and Dirty Dancer puts a great point right there when he says, hope KJ is just the start of the Texas pipeline. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be really nice. But Tommy Lloyd will figure that one out. But you're going to have guards here that obviously can play. We don't know how many of them, but you just look at it. Kerr Kriisa could easily be here still. You're going to have Kylan Boswell in there as well. You're going to have Pella Larson back, obviously. So, but there's going to be minutes there for KJ. There just are. I think the one thing that you wonder about any player, any young player, is how are they going to pick up on defense? Because offensively, with the way that Arizona runs, with the way that Tommy Lloyd takes everybody's offensive skills into account, he'll be fine offensively. Can he come in? Can he be that defender? And there is a track record in recent U of A history for guys coming in and being really good defenders. Now, granted, they were a little bit taller, but Aaron Gordon came in, was an all-world defender. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson was the same way. Now, obviously, those guys are first-round picks. KJ Lewis, though, is a little bit like that. Obviously a little bit more like Rondé, just physically. Not as tall as Rondé, probably not as thick, but again, he's about 6'5" and probably 205 pounds, something like that. But his body is equipped to be able to play basketball immediately. And so when I look at the rankings, and take it for what it's worth, but when I look at the rankings, I've always thought that he was criminally underrated. I believe, and I've told Sheer this from day one, that that's what a top 15 to 20 player in the nation looks like. You do wonder a little bit if he's downgraded because of the competition that he's gone against, or what, because sometimes that's just the case. I'll briefly, and KJ is at another level than this player, but when Terrell Stoglin was here in Tucson, I knew that Terrell Stoglin was a high level major basketball player. And you saw his rankings, and he was generally around 130 behind dudes like Jordan Mays. Well, I think a lot of that was probably because he played in Tucson. Now, that's not always the case, but I think that could be a little bit of the rankings factor with KJ. I'm very excited, though, to see him go off to Duncanville, though. And we're going to talk about stepping up in competition here in a second. But again, wanted to tell you about a couple other sponsors that we obviously have here as well. Four Peaks Brewery. Now, if you're wondering, what is the official beer of PHNX? The official beer is Four Peaks Brewery. Check it out. Go to the website. You can enter for raffles and all kinds of good stuff right there. Four Peaks Brewery, official beer of PHNX right there. It's a cool little bar too, so check it out when you get a chance. And another thing, FOCO, the #1 place to get officially licensed merchandise. Everybody likes official merchandise, from sports to bobbleheads to paraphernalia, anything you want. This is the place that you want to go to. Again, check it out, foco.com. You'll get there. It's a sports fan's haven. I can't put it any more succinctly than that. This is where you want to be. You can get the coolest stuff. Kenny Abbey, if you're listening, you should be there right now. I know you texted me about it the other day. Check it out, foco.com, and you can check it out, Go PHNX. got some information there as well. All right. Now, back to KJ Lewis. What I love about him, though, is going off to Duncanville. Now, I know that his mother's going to I know that his mother transferred there, but a lot of times when you find players like him, you can kind of get caught up kind of a rut. And the rut, I mean, is that you're so much better than the other players that you're just kind of coasting. You're just kind of going up and down the court. You're not really getting better because you're not really being pushed. And just briefly, that's kind of what I was referencing to when I was talking about Terrell Stoglin when he's at Santa Rita. He could have dropped 50 every game he wanted. Now, when you watch KJ Lewis, again, against El Paso competition, he could drop pretty much whatever he wanted at any point. So that you go to Duncanville, you've got another 5-star player right there that you're stepping in with Ron Holland, and that's going to push you. Because when you see a guy, when you're going against a player who is at Duke, who can play at Duke or can play pretty much wherever he wants, you can constantly measure yourself against them and see how they're doing right there. See how you play, see how he plays. And it's kind of that constant pushing of each other right there. And at Duncanville, you get something like that. And it's a unique spot. So, again, good on him. I do expect him as well to be able to come in next year and be able to play immediately. Now, at what level, who knows? He already put out there, all league. He'd like to win the conference freshman of the year, all that stuff. I think that's all possible right there because he's not coming in with anything where you're like, that's going to take a year. He's not coming in with a hitch in his shot, or he's not coming in with at 145 pounds or a player that you wonder, is he mature enough? He checks off all those boxes. So he can come in here. And again, I think he's probably going to get 15 to 20 minutes, but there's a lot of guys on the roster you could say that about. You could say that about possibly about Philly B on the perimeter. We don't know a ton about him, but that's going to be an exciting one. Pella's already penciled in. You know that. If Kerr's there, he's going to play a lot. Kylan Boswell, he's going to play a lot. I think this year is going to be a little bit of a transition year for Kylan, but by that sophomore year, I think he's going to be ready to go. And I think that's why U of A has him on campus right now, because it's a little bit different than KJ. Now, Kylan Boswell is the point guard, and it's obviously a more unique position. He's dealing with a little bit of an injury. So if you could get Boswell on campus now, get him rehabbed with real professionals, and then also get him acclimated to college life, then he's ready to go as a sophomore the following season. He can be handed the keys, and you're going to feel even better about it. But again, everybody out there that's worried about Tommy Lloyd's recruiting, don't be worried about Tommy Lloyd's recruiting, because just look at in short time what he's brought in. You brought in Henry Vieser, who is the equivalent of a top 40 player. You get Kylan Boswell, who's a top 15 point guard. You get KJ Lewis. We've already talked about him. You look at some of the grad transfers that Arizona's been able to bring in, who they're in on 2024, and this thing isn't going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger. And 23-24, that's that U of A basketball. That's that target date, in my opinion, to be a top 5 to top 7 team and to basically be able to run that consistently back year in and year out. So wanted to have a special podcast, though, here for you as well, mainly because getting KJ on was a big deal for us, and we'll have this up shortly. But again, one last time, DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX. You put in the deposit, you can get $1,000 in free plays. Like we talked about, I think ASU sucks. And so I'm looking at this ASU football team, and I'm thinking to myself, 5.5 wins? Okay, I'll take the under on that one. And if you want to back the A in the process, you can back the A with the over of 2.5 wins. That's how it goes right here. Under 5.5 for ASU, over 2.5. Arizona beats out ASU in the Pac-12 South this year. But the place to go to make that happen is DraftKings Sportsbook app, code word PHNX, and you'll be thankful that I sent you there. All right. For the first time this week, we are off tomorrow, but we're going to be back on Monday. I believe Brandon Sanders is going to be coming on. Then we got Brad, and we got a whole litany of stuff to get to. Everybody out there that joined, very much appreciate you. This will all be up here on Twitter, on on podcasts and every platform. I'll have it up to you shortly. Jacob Franklin back there, who's going to actually be leveling this audio because I'm having some issues. Jacob, tip of the cap. You're much cooler than I am. But again, for everybody out there, thanks again. You have a great weekend. Ricky Garrett, I see you right there, man. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.